acknowledge the traditional owners of land on which we stand. Elders, ladies and gentlemen, obviously as a consequence of invasion and dispossession, Aboriginal people are severely economically disadvantaged. Prisoners in Australia are in the most economically disadvantaged position of all, which would clearly put Aboriginal Indigenous prisoners in exactly the same situation, in a bottom category. And most of the schemes, my observations that I'm personally involved in, that are put forward by the government to redress the injustice of this system, are basically spin in window dressing. For instance, quite often in the press, hear about the new enlightened judiciary in Queensland. This is touted quite often, and yet there's more Indigenous prisoners in the Queensland system. There's only one person at the end of the day jailing people, and that's either the magistrate or the judge. So if they're more enlightened, beats me what's happened. The other thing is, a lot of this window dressing is, for instance, in the magistrate's court. You have things like the special circumstances court. This is to deal with people who are homeless, possibly having mental health issues, as a means of assisting them through the court process. Now, to get into this scheme in the court, you have to plead guilty to an offence. It seems to me that it's fairly morally deplorable that to get housing assistance, or to be given any assistance at all, you have to actually plead guilty to a criminal offence. One of the other window dressing things is the Murray Court. This is for Indigenous people who are in danger of going to jail. They must plead guilty to the offences once again. And the difficulty with this program and, say, the special circumstances court, while there's a lot of intervention and inquiring into people's needs, there's no actual program or solid program that backs these schemes up. Effectively, if you get put on probation or parole in this system, you want to be rich, because if you're rich, you have your own doctor or psychologist or psychiatrist that you can go to, but very difficult for anyone without resources to access any of that. For instance, there's inherent racism in the system in that if you work for the Aboriginal Legal Service, you're getting paid less than legal aid. So it's as if you've got to work for charity. The legal aid budget in Queensland has been slashed, of course, so there's less money available there. Soon to come into Queensland, there's people have probably heard about it, the Moynihan report. There's recommendations that are coming in. That report, the safeguards that are in the report have been thrown out by the government. It's effectively going to restrict the right to trial by jury. The police, who currently do not disclose evidence properly, are going to give a guarantee that they've disclosed all the evidence to the defence. No penalty if they don't. Now what will happen here is, once committals have got that, they're getting rid of committals or making it extremely hard to then cross-examine police or witnesses so you can actually gather evidence. This will affect people at a disadvantage, because if you ain't got a private investigator to go out there and find that evidence, you're going to be buggered in a lot of cases. So, in conclusion, the resources, well, in fact, there really aren't resources allocated, but if they were to be allocated, they really have to be allocated to stop people coming into the system. They have to be allocated for housing, for employment, for jobs, and that should be done in consultation with the community. Unlike most of the consultation I see with government at the moment, is they make the decision, ask you for consultation, and then adhere to the decision they made originally anyway. Recently, I hired some clients. 3 Kiwis were walking down the street at Surfers Paradise, and this is not a joke. And they came across a guy unconscious on the ground with blood coming out of him, with a girlfriend standing on the side of the straw. So one of the Kiwis has done first aid. He's going to assist this person. His girlfriend takes off her coat to stop the bleeding. The other Kiwi is standing near them. Police arrive. And what do the police do? One rushes over, pepper sprays a lot of them. What was their crime? They were brown coloured. They were Murray. And what transpires? He got 3 university graduates. One was a barrister. Now in New Zealand, they're not enamoured of the New Zealand police force, I might add either, but they had never been subjected to racism. And their feelings were of low self-esteem and never experienced it. Couldn't believe this could happen to them. And this only happened a few months ago on the Gold Coast. So racism could be alive in Queensland still.
Oh, really?
But that story hasn't finished yet either, of course.